He's the old chief.
Thanks, sir.
Hey, Tracy, you're bringing your own special desk. You don't have to look at this one,
That's my library.
Should be. Sit there in the first. Yeah. Sit there and move it.
Oh, that's my library.
What's the, first on that whole agenda?
All right, let's call this meeting of the village board to order. We'll start out with the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, trustee Hutchins. Present. Montel. Here. Trustee Long. Present. Attorney Schober. Trustee Heisler. Here. Clerk Kellner.
Here.
Trustee Goodman. Here. Trustee Khan.
Here.
And Trustee Lewandowski. Move along to public comments. Item 2. Public comments. Please stand, state your name and address, and try and keep it to about 2 minutes or so.
Tom Wright, West 230, South 9075 Clark Street, Big Bend. Regards rumble at the river down here. According to the laws, or the original guidelines that was by the village of Big Bend here, sure might be lost, but the village of Big Bend was not supposed to be paying for DPW to be doing rumble at the river work on DPW time. And he is, and has been. Any reason why?
It's not all necessarily run by the river work. Some of that is public works work that he's doing. He had to install a road for the county back there.
That was for rumble at the river so they can enter through Kings Parkway so they don't have to come through the front,
No, it was
through the
not.
back.
No, it was not. The legal documents read that the county requires an easement road to access their property.
Okay, why is he trucking trailers down here full of stands on public time?
He wasn't doing that.
Yes, he was. But then who's running the equipment down here?
That was a private company bringing in,
Then who's running the big John Deere wheel loader that the village
that would
pays?
be Eric or
Well,
someone.
then it's on public time, isn't it? If he's in that machine, running that machine, unloading the stands, isn't that on public time?
It's a public event.
It's supposed to be, theoretically, it's supposed to be on his private time, not village time. He is supposed to be doing all of this work on his time, not on village time. Why is the village paying him to do stuff that he volunteered to do when the rumble at the river was originally okayed upon? Why is he doing it on village time, not on his time, like agreed upon?
I don't know what he did on village time that he wasn't supposed to be doing.
Most of it?
Most of it's pretty vague.
Well, let's see.
I told you, you spent days putting in that road out there. That was required by the county as part of our land exchange with them. He put in light towers out there, helped put those in. That's the better park in the future.
Okay. Keep.
The village is benefiting from anything that he does.
No, we're not. And here's the next thing. I want to recommend myself as being the non-paid village person to watch over him then. You still don't have anybody in that position, do you?
You don't need that position.
You don't need anybody. The first meeting of the year, you guys all sat here and said you need one person from the village, non-paid, to watch the village parks. Did we or did we not? Should we go back and review some tapes? Because you guys all sit here and said, you know, nobody had a nominee at the time. Am I wrong?
I don't recall that conversation.
I don't recall that
And
comment.
then again, here we go again. Everybody that was on the little park over here that yelled at Peterson's, said you can't park your equipment over there. Everybody that lived over there by the lake should have recused yourself if you want to be a nonpartisan, non-judgmental board. Other than that, you guys are terrible. You guys all have your own private judicial issues in here. You guys are all corrupt.
Thank you for your comments.
You're more than welcome. I'll be back next time.
Well, I'll add something to that. Everything that I know of, Muskegon and New Berlin as an example, that's
Rule me wrong.
4th of July. The city sets up all of the picnic tables. They police it, they allow their park to be used because they've determined that the community benefits from those kind of events. And we've lost the sense of community, and the type of events that you had and other communities have tend to bring us back closer together. And it's wise to do it. The community benefits from it. That gentleman would understand that, but those who are thoughtful do understand it.
Did you mention New Berlin? New Berlin?
Yep.
Thank you. Any other public comments tonight?
Well, Warren, just a quick comment.
Sure.
If we have comments on item, for the Douglas Park repaving, can we hold comments until that discussion? Or do we need to go on record now?
What do you think, Mike? We can wait till that? I said, do you think we can wait until that agenda item comes up and let them speak?
So, you know, you can advance the agenda, you can, to do it.
Okay.
Not stuff like that order.
I think the reason is that we don't know what the discussion points are
Right.
yet.
Sure, right. All right, we'll close off the public comment section. We'll move along to reports. Item 3A, Fire Department monthly report. Good evening, Chief.
Okay, we had 18 calls for the month. We participated in Christ Lutheran's Touch a Truck event at the beginning of the month. We talked to many people about the department and showed children an engine and an ambulance. Flow testing was completed this month, no major issues noted. Hose testing is scheduled for July 11th, and pump testing will be completed in the fall. So Don, they'll be set up down behind the library there on, I think it's Monday. Staffing for Rumble by the River was set. We have been working with the Celebrations Committee and again are providing the tender for watering the track, and we'll have normal staff on scene for the event. In-person online training continues. We are still advertising for staff to join the department. We have just about finished our fee schedule for review. We are also meeting this month with Three Rivers Billing to go over aging accounts. We are applying for the state's EMS Flex Fund, or Flex Grant. We'll be looking at equipment to update depending on the funding we receive, if we get anything from that or not. COVID numbers have remained about the same, and PPE supply is good right now. Any questions?
When you say you're advertising for staff, Chief, how are you getting that information out, please?
We have put some over Facebook and just our signs that are up advertising. We've been getting a few people, but they haven't gone through the background checks, so.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
I have a question too regarding the letters that were sent out in March or April regarding community cooperation from the surrounding communities.
Yes.
Initially, you said there were two communities that were responded. Has there been anything else other than that? And actually, what kind of communication was it? Was it a letter? Was it an email? Verbal communication? And does the village have copies of any of that?
No, I talked to Marty from Test Corners a little bit, and they weren't interested at the time in consolidating. They were talking more of a shared service type deal. Talked a little bit with Chief Stein out in Quantico regarding that. They were on the same page as far as more of a shared services type thing.
And I had a conversation with the chief from the town of Village of Waukesha, Right now, everything is in their town, or the village president's hands. So if any decision's gonna be moving forward, it's gonna have to come from the village president before anything moves forward.
Well, the reason I asked this is I didn't see the original letter that was sent out. Was that sent out from the fire department?
We sent our letter out the same time that the village president sent his out. So they both went out at the same time.
And like I said, the response was just verbal then?
Yes.
Okay. And nothing since the two responses?
No, just the village of Waukesha is the only other contact we had, and everything right now is with the village president in the village of Waukesha.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
Thanks, Chief. Item 3B, Library Monthly Report. Good evening, Carolyn.
Hello, everybody. This is the busiest month of the year for the library, this in July, so I wanted to let you know that this room has been filled with kids and people several times. Where you're all sitting were reptiles and snakes and all kinds of cages, and that was one program we had called Nature's Niche, and we had a magician, and we had 54 people attend, so that was a little crowded in here. Jennifer Wadowski, a resident, former library board member, had a plant sale outside and gave us half of her earnings, and we got an $85 donation from her. So I wanted to acknowledge that. Also, I don't think I said this in the last meeting, but last month, Bobby, Robert, and Sadie Sonnenberg had done the display out there. They had worked hours and hours for that display, so if any of you have time, just sit and read some of those things. It's really interesting. I've got an update on the library or the digital sign. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for approving it, allowing us to go forward with that. It went through library board, your board, planning commission, Jason the inspector, and we've got the contract signed. Half the money is down. The other half is gonna come when it's completed, and none of it will come out of taxpayer money. It's all from donations. And the library's covering it just in case, people say they'll donate, but until you see it, you don't have it. And it should come, they said beginning of October, and now they sent an email and said there's some supply chain issues. I'm hoping for before the snow flies, and they're trying on their end. So the next step, someone will come here to do some engineering, look at the posts we have. We're hoping they're stable, they think they are. If not, then we're gonna have to put in a new post with concrete, and I guess we'll worry about that when that comes up. There'll be a little bit more electrical work to match what they need in the wiring that's to it. Then we sit and wait, and then one day it'll just be here. So I'm excited about that. And the only thing I have to say is I've got notification from the county. We'll be getting a couple more $1,000s next year from the county, which will help our budget. We're pretty flat right now. We spend what we get in, and next year should be okay. I'll have our budget together, hopefully in our September library board meeting. They'll approve it, and then I'll give it to the finance committee. So if anyone has anything they want to tell me about libraries, what they want me to do with the budget, stop in. I'd love to talk to people. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
Item 3C, Police Department Monthly Report.
Reports are in front of you. I'm gonna stay in the seat if you don't mind, because I know I got a big mouth, so I'll be able to still hear me. 7 total offenses, 2 adult arrests, 2 juvenile arrests, 65 traffic stops, 59 citations, 2 non-traffic citations, 299 for calls and assignments, 116 business checks, house checks, extra patrols and extra radar enforcement requests, 9 traffic accidents, 8 responses with fire department for EMS calls. The next 2 pages have all the items of note. You can read through that while I keep going. If you have any questions, let me know. Salvage vehicles, 39. Since we reinitiated the program, there's been a little uptick in phone calls that are started scheduled for the next couple of weeks, which is hopefully a positive thing that'll continue to grow like we had before. 1 hour and 14 minutes for assist other agencies, mainly in the sheriff's or WSD's territory. National Night Out is Tuesday, August 9th from 5 to 8 p.m. Hope to see you all there. If anybody wants to volunteer, we can always use some volunteers for help with the raffles, the duck races. We need somebody to chase the ducks on the river. I heard Jeff Goodman's gonna volunteer for that. That was nice of him. Only one laugh out of that? Come on, guys. You guys are tough tonight. We participated in Touch a Truck with the fire department over at Christ Lutheran in the beginning of the month. And that's all I got. Questions, comments, concerns?
Let me know what I can help out with for the night.
Okay. I'll, my police clerk wants to get hold of you.
Thanks, Chief. Item 3D, President's Report. And I guess I'll bring up is we had Rumble by the River this weekend, and hopefully it's well attended and mild mannered. 3E, Public Works Reports. Eric's included his report here. Looking over at the leisure. I'm going to keep moving along here. 3F, report from professional services. Anything?
Nothing atypical other than we finally finished up the developers agreement for Ripplebrook East. I'll have to say it's the most time-consuming one I've ever been involved in. Staff, I think, responded to everything the developer was asking for, but it's as though the developer really didn't understand what they had to do. It's finally done.
Thanks. We'll move along. Consideration and approval of minutes from the Thursday, June 23rd, 2022 meeting.
I'll make a motion to dispense with reading the minutes.
Second the motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for June 23rd, 2019.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Item 5, approval of bills. Discussion, consideration, and approval of bills in the amount of $130,829.56.
You said all at one time, please.
130,829.56.
I'll make the motion to approve the bills in the amount of $130,829.56.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 6, old business. A, discussion, consideration, and possible action on the emergency management plan for the Village of Big Bend.
I think that's supposed to be taken off the future agendas.
Okay.
Nothing to report.
Right. Same thing with the Cajun Fill site in general. We're still monitoring it, but there's no, it's up to them to file their closing. Update, item 6C, update regarding a Collier test boring for municipal well in the TID. I gave the update last meeting and nothing's changed. We should have a sit down with some of the people involved beginning of August. Item 6D, discussion, consideration, update, and possible action on Douglas Court repaving project. Any update, Mike?
Yeah, I called Naomi and Panadoma finally got back to me. They said approximately July 19th, and I go hold BRT to redo the ditch up on the far end where it's off by about a foot. Redo the grading before Panadoma does the asphalting. And it should be in the works. Pan Dolan said the 19th of July, and I let Naomi know that right away when I found out several weeks ago, and apparently she didn't respond to you, but
Perfect.
that's where it's at.
Any questions?
Or some comments?
Well, we had sent an email with some questions in terms of what actions the homeowners on the court may need to take in terms of staying off the road, ensuring that we can take our vehicles out to John Drive in the event we cannot drive on
Who
the
did
road.
we send this email to?
Whoever sent one.
Eric, yes, Eric, I think was the one who initiated
Okay,
it.
yeah, he's a little bit busy right now, but,
Yeah, he responded, yeah, he sent it and then responded.
Yeah, there was
We
a couple
had
of weeks
some
ago.
questions, a couple questions, yeah.
okay, I will talk to him tomorrow and ask him to try and get something out to you on Monday.
Okay.
Is that date new to you, the July 19th?
He said the 18th,
We
but it
can
was
read
flexible. Yeah, so,
Yeah.
just so we know, so we can reposition vehicles and then know, like, we don't wanna drive on the new asphalt and then on the driveways if that'll leave marks and
Right.
things like that. So, just a couple questions around, that usage and then I'm trying to think. Anything on, in terms of the shoulder, if there's any repairs that would disrupt current grass or lawns, landscaping, hardscaping?
Because that'll have to be brought back up to the new level. So, are the shoulders going to be brought up to the new level of the pavement?
That'll be steeper then.
Has that been considered?
I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, he asked if the shoulders were gonna be brought up to the new pavement.
Oh, right, after they
After they pave it.
Yeah, then BRT will go back in and put the, probably use reground asphalt again and bring it up to the shoulder level.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
And that was considered.
okay, thanks.
thank you.
Should I forward the email string to anyone or?
That'd probably be helpful if you forward it to the clerk.
Okay, I thought you were on it, no?
No, I don't recall getting
And then she can forward it on to the board or whoever.
Okay. Well,
Thanks.
definitely do that, thank you. Okay.
Anything else? We'll eagerly wait an update next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Completed by then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Item 6E,
Something's
discussion,
gonna happen.
consideration, and possible action on the certified survey map request of Neil and Christine Radonsky to divide their existing 5.36 acre parcel located at South 83, West 23325 Artesian Avenue into two lots, leaving the existing house and outbuildings on one lot, while the other new lot will be vacant and buildable. The property is zoned R2 residential. I don't think there's an update on this. We were waiting for the Radonskis to get word back from the DNR. There is what appears to be a navigable waterway traversing your property, and if they split it, the second lot would have no access to the roads. So they were supposed to get some sort of waiver or something from the DNR telling them that they could do it. So we're just leaving this on the agenda and rolling it forward until they say yes or no. No action. Item 7, new business. A, consideration and approval of the following operators license applications. 1, Zainer's Club Shamrock Shannon Miners. Chief? Public safety and legal?
Public safety approved, the chief was okay with it.
Okay.
Make a motion. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 7B, discussion, consideration, and possible approval of the following Class B beer and Class A liquor on-premise licenses applicant. 1, St. Joseph's Congregation, Kristen Skarians, agent, 33201 South Highway Road, Burlington, doing business as St. Joseph's Congregation, South 89 West 22650 Milwaukee Avenue.
Public safety had no issues, police had no issues.
Make a motion to approve.
Second?
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 7C, discussion, consideration, and possible approval for the purchase of a new police squad. Chief?
The, summary for the squad is in front of you, I'm just gonna move over so you don't have to look at your backs and eventually see me. We were scheduled to get a new squad this year, obviously with budget constraints and everything, we didn't get a squad for 2022. In talking with Ewald, who has a state contract, the opening of contracts for new squads for Ford Interceptors is August 11th. Right now, there is approximately 6 to 7 month out time. One thing that the fleet manager did tell me was last year when Tahoe or Chevy Tahoe opened their bid for police vehicles, they had it open for 1 day and they shut everything down. They're hoping that doesn't happen with Ford. They don't think that would happen with Ford. The cost for the vehicle in front of you is the sheet with the cost and the breakdown of how we're going to pay for parts of it. The vehicle is $37,899. For the refit everything with the equipment, light bars and radios and everything. Obviously the radios is interchangeable and most of the parts for the inside and the cage all got to be replaced because it's a new body style. All these manufacturers seem to change their interiors just enough to make more money down the road, unfortunately. So that second number there, 18,330, is for all the squad equipment, including the light bar. Decals is 1,000. We put on 1,000 because I was able to get a quote in time. Even though I asked for it a couple weeks ago, and I was told I'd have it by this afternoon. I didn't get it by this afternoon. It should be a little bit lower than that, but I just want to overestimate instead of underestimate, and I'd rather get money back than say a number and be on the low end.
What are hoopsters?
Hoopsters is in Glendale, or in Greendale. So the total there is $57,229. Right now in salvage and LGIP account for the police department for salvage vehicle fees, we have $25,777. National Night Out, we have enough money in there that will take $5,000 from National Night Out money and put it toward the squad car. We'll put a sticker on it like we did for the truck, advertising National Night Out in response to that. Then by chance, for those of you who are new, John Kopecki was the lieutenant here for 25 years. He passed away almost, I think, less than a year and a couple months after he retired, unfortunately. His sister reached out to me last week, and they're going to have a memorial for him either late September, sometime in September or October. For those of you who know him, I'll pass on the information so all of you know when it's going to be. They're going to have it right at the Lions Club, I've been told. So they were interested in making a donation to the police department for any kind of equipment we wanted. Literally was some of the days I was working on these numbers. So I reached out to her and I says, hey, well, you know, we're looking at a new squad for next year. Would you be willing to make a donation or consider making a donation for a portion of the squad car? And what we would do for the family is just like we did for American Fireworks and National Night Out. We put a rocker of some sort on the back tailgate in memory of Lieutenant John Kopecki, Big Bend Police Department, and some kind of dates we'll put on there. We haven't worked it out. I'll work it out with the family. Won't be obnoxious or anything, obviously. Just something simple and nice, but elegant for the family. So I sent her an email back asking about that. She talked with her other sister, her niece and her other sister, I believe it is, and they said, we'll give you $3,000 toward it if you're willing to do that. So that would knock down $3,000 for price. After looking at Wisconsin surplus, we'll be selling our 2013 Ford Interceptor. I figure minimum we'll get is $5,000. Part of my thinking is it is equipped with 360 lights with no light bar. We might sell it as a squad car, maybe we'll get somebody up north to buy it, but I think $5,000 is a conservative number for a sale of it based on the numbers that I was looking at on Wisconsin surplus for cars that are similar with actually more miles than what we had on it. And you're gonna ask me what the miles are, and I can't remember off the top of my head because I left that in the back. So with those deductions, it would take the price down to $18,452, plus whatever money we make between now and the end of the year for salvage vehicles would also go toward that. I'm hoping at least a couple $1,000s more to knock it down. What I'm asking is that we approve, and the payment of it won't be until we receive the vehicle. So even if we book it on August 11th, production date doesn't start until November, whatever date in November is on the other sheet that I just walked away from. So even if you take 6 months, a low end 6 months out of there, we wouldn't have to pay for this until probably June of 2023. So what I'm asking is the permission and the authorization to sign the contract to purchase this vehicle on August 11th. So we get on the top of the order, so we're not waiting until 2024, or later to get this car, if we'd even get it, if we don't get in right away. Questions?
Are you gonna retire the truck, or is that down the road later, go to Public Works, or?
That would be in another 3 years,
Okay.
2 to 3 years. 2 years if we do the normal rotation. This last rotation we did 3 years for a vehicle, so it'd be whatever the board decides and what the budget looks like and what the funding looks like in 2 years after we purchase this car.
Ballpark, how many miles do you put on the vehicle a year?
I believe 16 car has 82,000 miles on it. And we got that, and I believe it was in the middle of the year of 16. Whatever that would divide it up to be. We got somebody.
So, question for finance, how would the funding for this be set up going into 23?
We would just budget for it.
The whole thing at once or through depreciation? Excuse me, through like a what do you have, 6 or 8 year depreciation value on them?
We normally keep the cars 6 years, 4 years on the road, and we rotate the oldest car to the detective vehicle, which obviously will change when we do the truck, because the truck, we're not gonna do it as a detective vehicle, we're gonna probably transfer that right down to DPW, like we talked about when we approved that in whatever, December of
So
19.
we would budget for the whole 18,000 next year.
Right.
And like Chief said, we moved that from a 2-year replacement to a 3-year. So, which I don't know if that's really hurt us too much or not. When you
Well,
think
so
about-
far this year, there hasn't been any major issues with repairs for vehicles, so we're okay. If we, our guys and gals take pretty good care of the cars. We're fortunate now that Jamie A's a pretty good car guru, so we've actually done some small things ourselves, where it just costs parts and changing things and fixing things, so that can help us too.
So Jeff, what you're saying is that basically we budget for every 3 years to replace a patrol car?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we were budgeting every 2.
We were budgeting every 2, and when I first got here, we were budgeting for the whole entire car. Now we're fortunate enough that, we're obviously being more creative, or somebody in this room is being more creative, and we're using salvage vehicle money that's cutting the cost of the car, plus there's money to National Night Out, and I can justify using National Night Out because we're advertising for National Night Out. And now that I'm thinking of it, maybe Celebrations would be interested in making a donation, we could put a sticker of Celebrations on the other side if we don't have money coming from another source this year, which it doesn't look like at this point. So that could be another source of income.
So I agree with him, we basically paid for well over 50% of the vehicle. maybe 60% or more, just through the salvage vehicle and National Night Out, things like that. And then also the sale of a down-the-road car. So we actually get a lot of use out of these vehicles. 6 years, you know, that's, so we still have a pretty good vehicle after the 3 years.
And we actually get more than that, cause like Eric has the we have the 13 that's a detective's car that we're still using. And when we got rid of 14, cause there was a year where 12 ended up being 13 because of budget cycles back then, before I even got here, because we got 13's actually the detective car. That car was purchased in 12, but it ended up being a 13 for some reason. I don't know the whole story on that. But so we actually get more than 6 years, because 14 is still with Eric. It's his take-home car now. So we're even getting more than 6 years out of these vehicles. The pickup truck, mainly myself and Jamie drive that truck. Everybody else is not a big fan of that truck. So that truck is gonna, you know, even probably get more miles out of it for Eric, because it's not gonna be as many miles, because they're using the Explorer more than they're using the pickup truck, even though I don't understand why. Some people just don't like the pickups at this point. But so that, I think, will even get more longevity than the 6 years that we normally have when it goes to Eric, and he can use it for his use down there at DPW.
Right, and I don't know for sure, but this may be the first time we actually passed down a vehicle, like a pickup, isn't it, to the DPW? Or maybe we,
The 13 that Eric's take-home car was the
no,
first.
the pickup.
Yeah, because we've never had a pickup
Yeah,
there.
that pickup is, that's getting up there in miles too, or years.
So it's going from 2-year to 3-year planned purchase, then we'll adjust the accrual every year for how much goes into the budget for that? Or is it
What is budget for, to pay it that year?
that year? So you're not going like 6,000, 6,000, 6,000
No,
to create the 18?
That's not-
you're
that's
just
not
going
the way we
0,
pay
0, 18?
we'll just budget the whole thing next year.
Okay.
And then the following year, we won't budget anything.
Yeah, neither paid in one lump sum.
Okay.
But like I said, the nice thing is I don't think we've done this at all before. We just started doing this the last couple of vehicles where you actually put quite a bit of money in yourself, police department, to help pay for this. Like I say, the village just paid the whole bill, which would be, $57,000 instead of 18. So it's a pretty creative way to get a new vehicle. In finance, we didn't have any problem with this. If we don't make a decision now, he won't get on the list. So then you're looking at probably the following year, right?
Or whatever, well, if there's 7 months, 6 to 7 months out, if we wouldn't budget it, and I couldn't even order it, if the order is still taking orders in January, you're 6 to 7 months after that at minimum, if they're still taking orders by then.
So that would push us out to a 4-year.
Right.
And I think by the time you get 6 years plus out, then you start having more cost to the vehicle, I would think. Although we've been pretty lucky here, too, haven't we, Chief? Where we haven't had too many major costs.
Yeah, with the ones we have right now.
But you start pushing out too much further, and then you're gonna get caught up where you're gonna have repairs.
I agree.
That's kind of what's happened with the DPW trucks. Those things have cost us a ton of money. So I'll make the motion to approve this, and move forward.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chief. Item 7E, discussion, consideration, and possible approval of the payouts for the clerk treasurer and DPW laborer. Have the packets with the amounts, we went over this in finance, and I guess unfortunately it is what it is. You lose employees and you gotta pay them for sick days, vacation days, et cetera.
I think everyone kind of see my question on comp and flex time. And, you know, it is different, we get it, it may not be. But we do take and pay out the comp time to our employees. And of course, my question on that was why did we just pay the individual overtime in the first place? But, you know, I guess he wanted extra time off because he's a problem plow hours for the winter time. And then you could take him at a different time. So we do not pay that comp or flex time out to salaried employees. That's in our handbook. So like Warren said, it kind of is what it is.
Just for my information, everything rolls over, nothing expires at the end of the year or any other type of time limits? For-
It's just a maximum on the amount of time they can carry. And, you know, we have a maximum in the employee handbook for sick leave carryover, which I think is 240, isn't it? Something like that. And then, vacation might be 80. I believe comp and or flex or whatever might be 80 hours also. I could look and see if you want to.
No, I can look, I just wanted to make sure I understood it correctly, that there was rollover involved.
I know the big discussion for a while was the amount of benefit the person got right out of the chute, because we did have one individual that was here a short period of time, got quite a payout. And so we talked about possibly changing that. Yeah, 80 hours is the max that you have been kind of flex time. Well, sick time, they can accrue up to 480 hours. I know there's something in here about vacation too. I believe they could only carry over 1 week, wasn't it? Something like that. Yeah, 5 days vacation, they can carry it over into the next year. Must be used by June 1st of that year. So like I say, whether being what it is, I'll just make a motion to pay out both Elena. Elena has $2,802.64. And then Chuck Dean has $2,915.81.
I'll second the motion.
Any further?
As you know, Chuck is coming back and helping us part-time. And also Lee is coming back some and helping us part-time. John, we can
different situation. Sorry.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I don't know that we have a need to go into closed session. Jeff, Larry, anything from finance?
Unless you want to go into great detail with it. We're gonna come up, basically approve or not
Yeah,
approve.
I don't see any need to go into closed session, we're just gonna discuss it here in the open. Clerk treasurer position, obviously everybody here knows Elena put in her notice, she's still working part-time for us, trying to take care of payroll and a couple other things. Kelly came back, she's helping out too. So, unfortunately, we're not getting very many resumes in. We've gotten 7 and we interviewed 2. And, well, we all know where they ended up. We'll keep trying though. The second part of this is the police department's special events pay and police officers. We discussed the finance and personnel with celebrations here about funding some of the police department, and I'm gonna let Chief jump in here and take over what he has proposed.
I'm bringing my water, I'm coughing a little bit tonight, so I apologize. So for Rumble, we're short both days. Part of our shortage is staffing, part of our shortage is our part-time guys and gals, all have full-time jobs or other departments. Everybody's struggling to keep staffing levels across this country, across the state, and all walks of business and life. So we reached out to Neshota, an officer, and Waterford to try and get some extra officers. Unfortunately, the Neshota person had to back out and isn't able to do it. We are able to get 3 officers from Waterford's police department who are willing to work Friday night for us, which will obviously increase our staffing, which is greatly needed. The caveat of that though is that they obviously want to get paid their prevailing wage. 2 of those 3 people are paid at $42 an hour. In my mind, and I've represented this to celebrations, I was also, so my officers are going to be standing out there doing most of the work, backing these guys up, doing all the reports for them because they don't know our system. Let me back up half a step. Fire and Police Commission approved the temporary hiring of these 3 officers as police officers for the village of Big Bend yesterday after when we met with them. Just so you're aware of that. I know some of you know some stuff about Fire and Police Commission, so that's all approved already and been taken care of. So with that, I propose that we raise the rate of our officers for a special duty pay for these 2 nights to match the higher paid officers from Waterford at $42 an hour, and in turn raise my sergeant, who would be obviously working again, he should be paid higher than a ranking or a patrol officer, to $45 an hour, and then obviously the officer in charge was yours truly to $50 an hour. The grand total of it with the number of officers that we were able to get would be $7,396. Now to know this could flex up or down a little bit, or definitely is going to flex down a little bit temporarily or hopefully, because one of the officers each of those nights was trying to get off comp from his other department to come work for us both nights for the whole evening, which he got neither day off because we're taking 3 of their officers already from that department on Friday night, and Saturday night they have a special event in Waterford, so he can't get off either night. So he works 1:45 to 9:45. He'll come here, start at 10 o'clock, and then work the rest of the night with us till 2 in the morning to cover the event, plus the roads for a couple hours after everybody starts going home, and hopefully go straight home instead of to the bar and causes trouble like we usually have a little bit of each year, but nothing significant, thank God. So that price could go down a little bit based on his not being 8 hours each night. He'll only be 4 hours each night. The way it could go up if we do have incidents, obviously if guys or gals get overtime for processing prisoners, or we have something still going on that we gotta keep them a little later, that could go up a little bit, but it would be nothing of significance. My opinion of this is that this is the right thing to do. As Brandon said, Celebrations is on board with it. I'm forgetting something, but I can't remember what, but that's most of it. And as you guys ask questions, I remember the rest. Warren, did I forget something?
I don't think so. You covered the costs, you covered. If you just wanna, well, that's fine. You did good.
We
I think
agree,
it's
definitely.
9 on Friday and 7 on Saturday. I remember it.
We have, with the 3 Waterford officers, we will have 11 Friday night,
And 8 Saturday.
including Jamie Sonnenberg, who will be OIC for the fire department. So he'll be with us. He'll be wearing uniform and his duties, a modified duty uniform, but he's actually going to be fire department. So it'll be 11, including Jamie and Nate for half the shift from 10 until 2, or as soon as he can get here from Waterford. On Saturday night, it's 9 or 8 people, including Jamie again, or Sonnenberg again, and Nate will be again when he gets here. And that's if he gets out on time from his other job. He can get up because he can get here in 15 minutes from Waterford without any problem. But as long as he doesn't get tied up down there. Now the other thing on this is 2 of these people each night are brand new officers who one's had 3 days of training so far with me and one's had 1 day of training with me so far. So my other officers, my sergeant and myself obviously are going to, I hate to say it, but be babysitting this whole crew both nights, and with the perfect weather we're supposed to have, Brandon guesstimated he thinks they're going to get up to 7,000 people on Saturday night. I love Rumble, but I hope to God we don't. We're going to be packed. This whole village is going to be packed from wall to wall with cars and everything else if we get 7,000 people, because we didn't even have that last year when COVID came out. You know, COVID was starting to end or change over. But I hate to agree with them, but I potentially see that both these nights will be bigger than we've ever had here, which is good for the village, could be bad for us. Hopefully not. Hopefully everybody will behave like they've done most of the times.
Keep our fingers crossed. So as we sit, Celebrations was at Finance and Personnel earlier, and they volunteered to pay this $73.96 or $76 here, whatever the dollar amount is, out of their account to cover the costs of patrolling and the extras and all of that. I don't know if the board needs to make a motion on that.
I think that would be appropriate. We definitely need you, chief, and we appreciate that. Same with the fire department. And
It
one
is.
thing that came up was that, you know, this went to budget last year, and we didn't budget for it because we assumed that the Celebrations was making a donation to both the police and the fire to cover these costs. So I don't think we budgeted anything for fire either, did we?
We put in our budget $5,000 in the budget for Rumble.
Did we approve that?
I don't know if you, I'm
Yeah.
sure you did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We approved it for the police too, but somehow it didn't stay in as a line item in the police budget.
It should still be in our budget. Like I said, we budgeted $5,000 for
Okay.
Rumble.
Good, because you
Did
guys.
you do a separate line item, Jamie?
Yeah, we did it was a separate line item now. We included it in our wages.
I think it's still in there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you both deserve it, you do a great job, and it's for the community, it's not just a moneymaker for Celebrations, I mean,
It's huge.
Yeah, last year, I mean, how we did it last year, and that's how we ended up on our end, it was, getting staff and everything else, so. No, for us on our end, what we're doing right now works out rather well, so.
It helps keep people here.
Yep.
So, I'll make a motion to approve it. In Celebrations is gonna take and pick up the bell on it.
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
And that really goes along with the fact that we've always said, I'm sorry, Chief. We've always said that we don't really use any taxpayer money for the celebrations, even though it has taken benefit the village a lot.
And as I said before too, I was under the impression that celebrations covered the cost of the police department and fire, but that was my mistake.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 11, correspondence. Thanks, Chief. Have a good night. See you tomorrow. Any correspondence? Item 12, public comments. Any public comments? Along to item 13, Trustee Khan, your turn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.
Or has been any discussion on